Okay, second try today. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties, but today is Wednesday, November 14th, and welcome to One Card Wonder Wednesday. Today I made an adorable card using the Happiness Surrounds stamp set that is part of the Snowflake Showcase, and it coordinates with the Snowfall Thinlits and I'm having a blank, the Snow is Glistening stamp set that they are limited edition throughout the month of November, so you can order them through the end of this month. But after that, they're no longer going to be available. So if you like these stamp sets and these Thinlits, you need to order them soon. So here's the card I made, and I wanted to do a basic black background. So that is what I have started with. And I just took my basic black, a sheet of basic black, and I cut it in half. So you've got the 8.5 inches width, and then this is 5.5, so it's just your basic card size that we normally do. The beauty of this card is, I think, instead of using Whisper White, I used Very Vanilla just to give it a little muted so it's not quite so bright. I put a piece of Very Vanilla on the inside, so when you write your sentiment, obviously you have somewhere to do that. With the basic black, you can't do that unless you have a white pen or something, but most people don't have those. So I thought I would just add that cardstock on the inside because I think that's the wisest thing to do. So the first thing I did is I took a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock, and this is cut in 5 inches by 3.75, and I ran it through the Big Shot in the Subtle Dynamic Embossing folder. This is just a very subtle texture that it gives that paper. So it just gives it a little bit. It might be hard to see on camera, but when you do it in person, you can see. And it really is a very subtle, but it just kind of roughs the paper up a little bit. So that was the first step I did. The second thing I did was I took my Memento ink, and I wanted to put a border on this. Now, I wasn't sure if I could get the border on after I ran it through the Big Shot, so I tried it that way, and it worked. So you could do it either way. You could stamp your border first, then run it through the Big Shot, or you could just wait and stamp it after you've run it through or before, however you want to do it. So I just took this cute little border stamp that comes in the Happiness Surrounds set, and I just stamped a little border on the bottom. And then I just flipped my card around just so I could keep going with the same. Make sure I got plenty of ink on it because I don't want it to be splotchy. I had a couple right there, but that's just because I didn't get quite enough ink on it. And there you have it. There's your cute little border. It's easy to stamp. This stamp is really versatile. This whole stamp set is very versatile. You could obviously do it in any color, but because I'm going with Flirty Flamingo and Basic Black, I decided to do that border in the Basic Black. I also took the It's Your Day sentiment from the stamp set, and I just put it over here to the right. And I also stamped that after I ran it through the Big Shot. So however you choose to do it, it doesn't matter. You can do it either way, before or after. Once I had that finished, I just took a piece of Flirty Flamingo, that is 5.25 by 4 inches wide, and I just put some snail adhesive and then adhered my piece down to that Flirty Flamingo for that border. Now that you have that piece done, you can just set that aside because you're not going to need it quite yet. And I took another piece of Very Vanilla, and I used the Flirty Flamingo ink. Finished with the Memento, so I'll get that out of the way. And I stamped this big floral medallion that's on the stamp set. It's really gorgeous. And I just made sure it was inked up really well. And I kind of put it toward the corner of my piece of paper because I wanted to get both this image and this floral image on the same piece. See how beautifully that stamps? I mean, I just can't even imagine it in a bunch of different colors. I think it would be really gorgeous. So then I took this floral image that's just kind of like a, looks like little lines. It actually is kind of reminiscent of the Subtle Embossing folder, but this is just bigger lines. And then I stamp that on the same piece. So once we're done with that, we're done with the ink. So we don't even need any more ink right now. So I'm just gonna set these both aside and get them out of the way. So what I did next was I took this larger floral medallion and I fussy cut it out because there is no die to do that. But this floral piece has a die, and that would be this one right here that comes in the Snowfall Thinlits. And I also cut a piece in black using this Thinlit, which comes out with this beautiful intricate floral piece, and that will be layered on top of this one. So once you have all your pieces cut out, which I did ahead of time, so ta-da! The magic of television, so to speak, or the magic of video. I can do things ahead. Good morning, Lisa Marie. I just took a little bit of Tombow and put just a couple of small dots of glue on this because it doesn't take too much just to get around these little tiny pieces. And I glued that piece down and just let it set so it could, the glue could dry. So I just glued that piece to there. And now I have cut the large snowflake Thinlit in black. And don't ask me why, but I think it's gorgeous cut in black. But I didn't want the snowflake. All I want is this little floral piece on the inside. So I'm just gonna take my paper snips and I'm just gonna cut around. And you'll end up with all these little pieces, or the piece of snowflake. It's all gonna come out as one piece the way I'm cutting it. I just snipped all these little ends. But you can take these pieces when you're done and you can use them on other cards. You could actually save it as one piece and use it as a background for something, because that would cut, you know, if you had something to cover the center where I'm taking this piece out, you could take each piece separately and snip them apart. And I'll show you, I did one earlier from, so you end up with that piece left, and this is what I want, is that center piece. But you could take little sections of it and cut it out and make little leaves to use on your projects. So don't throw it away, just keep that piece and use it for something at some point. I'm just gonna set that aside. Now this tiny piece, all I wanna do is put a little bit of snail on the back of it, and I want to adhere it, and I want it where I have these little leaves. I want these points, or actually they're not really points, but these sections to go toward those. So now I'm gonna take a tiny bit of snail again and just cover the back of this with some snail. I wanna make sure it sticks good. And then I'm gonna offset it so you're gonna see those, just those little points sticking through. And there we have the floral piece, or medallion piece, if whatever you wanna call it, done for the front of our card. Next I took some ribbon. They're about 11 inches long, and I used the lace trim that comes in Very Vanilla. It's in the annual catalog. It's just gorgeous. I think it's just really a really pretty delicate lace. And then I used the 5/8 inch black, or no, I'm sorry, ½ inch. Thought it was 5/8. Sorry, it's a ½ inch black satin ribbon that also comes in the annual catalog. I did about 11 inches each, and then I took the ends, I just folded it over my finger like this, and then I just took the ends, and just, these scissors are not gonna cut the way I want them to, and just snipped them so they both went the same way. You can do them in opposite directions, however you wanna do it. It really doesn't matter. And then I went ahead and did the same with the lace, and the lace is thin enough you can just do both at the same time. Get rid of your tiny little pieces. And now I'm gonna adhere this to the front of my black cardstock after I add my Very Vanilla piece to the inside of the card. And then we'll go ahead and fold it and add it to the front. Sometimes I think it's fun just to do something like this with the black as your background, because a lot of people aren't expecting that. You know, how many times do you get a card that's done with black cardstock? You know, normally it's white or something lighter, and black might be an accent color on it, but not the base of the card. So I think it's fun to just change it up sometimes and do things like that. So once you get your snail adhesive on the back of that, you're just going to adhere that to the front of your card. And I just think that really gives it a nice pop with that black and the flirty flamingo together. So now I took a couple of glue dots and I just rolled them onto, if I can get them to come off, that one doesn't want to come off. Just rolled them onto my Very Vanilla. And I use that to adhere my black ribbon down, my black satin ribbon. And I just, again, kept it folded over. And it looks like I might need to just cut a little bit more off the ends. It's a little bit long, so I'll just cut a little bit off this one end and then fold it again. Because you want it to be able to fit into your envelope and not poke over. There we go. And then I just did the same thing again with the glue dots. I just put a couple of glue dots, but this time it'll actually be stuck to the ribbon because I want it there for the Very Vanilla ribbon. So there we go. You can see I got like 3 glue dots there. It'll be enough to hold this ribbon down because it's very delicate and lacy. And I'll do the same. I'll cut just a little bit more off of that. So maybe you could make your ribbon piece 10.5 versus 11 inches because you don't quite need as much as what I had cut there. And then those glue dots will just hold that Very Vanilla ribbon in place. Looks like I need one more glue dot just on this little section here. So I'll just add that directly to the ribbon and then stick it down. There we go. Okay, so once you have that, just take some of your dimensionals, and I only used 2, just one on each side, and I used the edges where the larger pieces, you know, doesn't matter which ones you use, but directly across from each other where these larger pieces poke out. And then I took a glue dot and I had cut out a leaf and then this little other little stem with the little buds on it. And I used a glue dot on the back of those and adhered them to I think the end of my glue dots are like extremely sticky because they don't want to come off. Adhered them to the back of this piece right about here, just so you got a little bit of something poking out on this side. And then remove the adhesive back from your dimensionals. And just put that directly over the center of that. I wanted to dress it up a little bit because we all know I like bling, so I used some of the Share What You Love Artisan Pearls and some of these faceted dots in this gorgeous black. And I just put one in the center of the faceted dots. I put one over here, and then you just took one of these little pearls and just added it right to the side. And there you have it. There is today's One Card Wonder Wednesday. Like I said, you can make the ribbon whatever length you want. I cut it a little bit longer on this one than I had on this one. So, I mean, it just depends on how much ribbon you want poking through. You can just see the difference by looking at them. That one has a little bit more ribbon than the other. But this card could be used for a birthday card. It could be for a congratulations card. It's pretty much an all occasion card. So you could use it for anyone and for any occasion. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Make sure if you love these products and it's something you want, you need to log on to my website, valeriesmith.stampinup.net. Click shop now before the end of the month, because at the end of the month, this stamp set, these Thinlits, and the Snow is Glistening stamp set, I'll pull that out so you can see that real quick, won't be around anymore because they're limited edition. So if you like them and you want them, you need to order quick. Thank you. I appreciate you watching. Have a great day, and I will see you next week for One Card Wonder Wednesday. Thank you. Bye.